At 2:08 a.m. on Thursday, the 8th of March 1973, the Fortitude Valley night was lit up by flames. The Whiskey A Go-Go nightclub, located on the corner of Amelia Street and St. Paul's Terrace, was burning from the inside out. Patrons tried desperately to escape, some even jumping from the windows on the first floor, as the escape was blocked by old oil drums. 2 members of the band, 3 staff members, and 10 patrons lost their lives in the biggest mass murder in Australian history at the time. When the men responsible for the blaze were arrested, they protested their innocence till the end of their lives. And with the recent news of deaths surrounding the fire, the Queensland Attorney General has reopened the inquest into it. This week on Cheeky Tales, we take a deep look into the infamous blaze at the Whiskey A Go-Go, Brisbane.
I used to work right next to that. I could see it out the windows at work.
I was wondering how quickly you were going to drop that in.
Very quickly.
I wanted to get to it immediately.
And I'm immediately going to trump that as the only person that's been inside that building. It's a radiologist now. I have been inside
I walked
that
in
building.
the room and I said, look at this. It's the biggest nightclub.
I was going for a Trump voice because
I
he's
know.
got Trump.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, I have. It's a radiologist. Yeah. Hello, welcome to crime.
Hello, welcome to
Crime Tales.
Hello, it's Case File, Cheeky
It's
Boy,
Cheeky
Files.
Cheeky Files, yeah.
Don't sue us.
It's not X Files. It's not Case
The
Files.
truth is in his iPad.
Yeah, and Channel 7 News. None of what I'm saying has not already been reported by Channel 7.
That is where I got it because they did it a couple of weeks. Isn't it?
A couple of years ago, yeah.
No, it was like a couple of weeks ago because it was the anniversary.
Yeah.
They had like a on this day.
Yeah, it was the anniversary, and then also somebody related to the case died this year, which I will get to. Foreboding, but it's not foreboding. It's
morbid
public
on
news.
this day.
Yeah, this is going to be a morbid episode a little bit compared to my usual episodes.
Anybody
of fun and
eat
whimsy.
each other in this one?
No one's eating each other,
it's
so
not
you're
that
still
icky
100%. Yeah, it's not icky. It's morbid.
Mhm.
It's crime.
I
tales.
know a little bit about this.
I don't want to call it cheeky crimes because that doesn't seem fair to
Just a
anyone.
bit of cheeky
Look,
crime.
someone said Cheeky Files before, and that's not a bad name.
Cheeky Files works, yeah.
Cheeky Files.
Cheek Files.
yeah,
Cheek Files.
that could have been another name for this
It
podcast.
could. I feel like it could. If we'd thought of it back then,
Yeah, it's not too late.
it is.
I'm not rebranding anything,
It's
but
No,
Anyway.
it's too hard to rebrand.
welcome to Cheeky Files.
Yeah. So I thought about saying,
We could
welcome.
call our listeners the Cheeker Files.
Yeah.
Oh
It
man,
writes itself.
I was thinking about doing the intro this week on Brisbane crime history, on a Brisbane crime history podcast.
this week on Brisbane Crime.
Yeah, I couldn't maintain that voice for one paragraph, let
Yeah.
alone 40 minutes or however long this takes.
Well,
So yeah,
having been to the Valley many a time, today even,
In a world where there's crime in Brisbane,
3 men with very little education on the topic.
discuss what happens 50
Yeah.
years ago.
wing it. Just absolutely wing it.
Yeah, the Valley's a seedy place.
Yeah, it was
Even
even
today.
seedier back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Alrighty. Should we-
I barely ever go.
you
so-
barely ever go there, but that's okay. No, I'm going to tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you about the 70s.
We should take him on a walking tour of the Valley.
Yeah, we've been playing that. We've
No,
been playing-
thank you.
No, there's
On a Sunday night. Let's go.
there's a really cool Valley historic pub tour where they where they take you back to all the areas of some of the pubs that you don't see.
Take me back to the
Like
back
some of the
pub
like some of the bigger,
with
more
the
modern
kegs.
some of the bigger, more modern pubs that kind of incorporate lots of smaller, older ones and a lot of the yeah, there's like a full tour you can do. Apparently it's fantastic.
Mm.
And it starts from Netherworld, which used to be this like dive Irish bar, which is in the story because it's across the street.
You went back to it, but we walked past Australia's oldest pub when
Yes,
we went on our
I
Sydney
went.
tour.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to question their credentials on
Okay.
being Australia's oldest pub because it doesn't feel that old. I went inside and had a beer.
I just remember it had a very low ceiling.
It does still. But I ate outside at that pub. Actually, quite good service, quite good food.
Hmm.
But
This is
yeah,
in Sydney, not Brisbane.
yeah. What was it called?
I
Can't
don't
remember
know.
now.
It was on the rock, something.
Something on the
Are
rock.
you talking about the Surveyor General Inn in Berrima, New South Wales?
Nope.
The oldest continuously licensed inn. The Hope and Anchor in Tasmania is generally considered Australia's oldest continually licensed pub.
Told you.
First dates back to 1807.
Maybe it was Sydney's oldest pub.
Yeah, it would be Sydney's
Maybe.
oldest pub. Because I have been to the Hopenamka, Tasmania.
And
It was fantastic. And it felt, spoiler, it felt
Old.
it felt old. It felt like Australia's
Yeah.
oldest pub.
And didn't we also go to one that's like you walked into this pub and there was an area and then you walk through like a big wine barrel? And that was like the entrance into the restaurant area?
Found it. It's the Fortune of War. It's in the Rocks
That's
in
it.
Sydney.
That's the one.
1828. Mate,
I don't know about that.
it's 11 years.
I
It's
reckon
11
it was demolished and rebuilt.
Yeah, it's 11 years after the Hope and Anchor.
I think I know the one you're talking about. Was it underground?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Apparently that's super famous.
It was
Did
cool.
you know there's apparently like a thing with bartenders all over the world where they all have coins and like,
Finay coins.
yeah, they got like coins. And if you go to a bartender with your coin, you're like, oh yeah, I'm a bartender. They're like, oh, you're a bartender. Here's my coin. Oh. And
It's
then
good.
they do like a whole thing.
Yeah, it's most famously done by people that stock Finay Branca, which is a type of vermouth.
So
And that's what everybody wants, these Finay coins. It's actually really complicated to get into the nitty gritty of it.
Well,
and
you
this
just show you the coin. You don't get anything for it.
no, you don't get
you don't
anything.
get like a free shot.
Oh, they do like,
They'll
do,
probably
like,
give you
special
a free
treatment for
drink.
each other.
Well, how do we
probably-
get
The
these
guy that
coins?
told me about it was like, oh, they took us behind the bar and there was like, in Sydney, there's like tunnels that go between the bars and stuff.
Well, how do we get one of these coins?
You-
I don't know, man.
you need
Become
to
a
be given.
bartender.
You need to be. It's. I've looked into it because someone mentioned it. My brother's a bartender. Someone mentioned it. We're digressing a lot.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with the whiskey.
Nothing. We're
Sorry.
Sean, a go into the story.
Tell us about all these people that died. Fire up your story, Sean.
Story a go.
Nice.
Thanks, man. I took 2 shots at it. The second one was good.
a bright start.
Oh no.
What is now a
Lanes are
radiologist was once a thriving nightclub. The corner of St Paul's Terrace and Amelia Street, just across the road from Netherworld, for all you Brisbane locals out there, lies a building that is surprisingly still the same as it was before the 1978 fire. It structure
literally looks
is
exactly
exactly
the
the same.
Except for
Balcony's
all
the
the-
same, the windows are the same, the entrance is in the same spot. It's the same. It's
It's like-
quite amazing.
You can walk around it and see like the locations that Sean's going to talk about.
Yeah, it's astounding that they didn't knock it down and rebuild it.
It's
Anyway.
also really weird because you look at the building, you're like, this isn't a nightclub.
Yeah. Before the whiskey, it was the Celebrity Cabaret. This club sadly closed due to financial issues, and the Whiskey A Go-Go was opened on a suggestion from a band manager by two people named Brian and Ken. In March 1972, the Whiskey A Go-Go opened its doors for the first time. The Suspects' Beginnings. In 1966, in New South Wales, a man named John Andrew Stewart was sent to jail for the attempted murder of a criminal named Robert Steele. His stint in prison was short, and in 1972 he was released and he returned to his hometown of Brisbane.
What was Robert Steele's crime? Was he a thief?
Doesn't say. Just says criminal Robert Steele.
That'd be fun.
So we're talking about the 60s. We're talking about the 60s and the 70s in Australia. They're just criminal people. They were like known criminals, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're a mad crook, but we can't prove it." So because
I mean, it's in his name.
it's Steele.
Oh, let it
Steele.
go.
Come on, man.
Let
It was
man.
crap.
It was good for like 20 seconds.
At that time, the Fortitude Valley scene was one of debauchery and crime.
I would like to argue that that is still true.
It's still true.
I don't know
Drugs.
if you've noticed how many strip joints there are. It's many.
Isn't that where you worked for a long time?
It is.
What do strip joints have anything to do with murder and crime and drugs?
I think they kind
he
of
was
pop
linked.
up in locations where that happens, Sean.
And he was also leaning to the word debauchery.
It was. Drugs, murder, and extortion. It all ran amok and the police at the time, I spelt that with a 9 in the middle of the word. Well done, Sean.
At the T9.
At the 10-9 I'm. That's a little bit. Let's do that again.
So
At the time, the Fortitude Valley scene was.
It's not getting cut. I hope you realize that.
there's
Give me some air.
There's no time.
Give it some air.
No, because if I give you air, you're going to expect. Actually, it doesn't matter. I'm not cutting it.
At the time, the Fortitude Valley scene was one of debauchery and crime. Drugs, murder, extortion, it all ran amok, and the police at the time either did nothing to stop it or were in on it to make something on the side.
This is in the famous era of Queensland police
Yeah.
Just no,
corruption.
Just corruption.
Who was the premier at this time?
You're trying
I-
to say it was Joe. I think he was a bit later. I think he was in the 80s.
You're talking about Bjelke Peterson.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about Bjelke Peterson.
What's really funny about Bjelke Peterson?
He might have been.
Is-
Was he the police commissioner at this time?
He might have been.
It was Joe.
Was the commissioner
He was
or the
he was the premier from
Right.
1968 to 1987.
absolute disgrace,
I
right?
was not alive.
In
Yeah, but he had a really cool state car.
sure,
So
but
that's-
that doesn't make up for all the corruption.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was
So-
a Holden Brougham. It's a great car.
He's held in
Sean's-
very low regard
My
in
parents
this.
owned it.
Sean's
Wow.
political views.
But
Who
they
cares
did.
how corrupt you are as a politician? Have a
They
really
did.
nice car.
Kim
They
Jong Un
did.
might be a dick, but he's
It
got a
really
sweet
did.
ride.
The whole thing had flag
Why
poles
are
on
you
it.
hiding that?
The Denver Broncos.
Yeah, he's like widely renowned as a really dodgy bloke and not well regarded in Queensland.
No.
But if you go like out towards Kingaroy, there is stuff everywhere named after him. And I don't really understand why.
That's another episode.
Mm.
Probably
What,
not.
Kingaroy.
No.
They got peanuts and they got
on the popularity of Joe Bjelke
ice.
Peterson.
That's about it. What?
Someone need to shock me out.
Yeah, we'll all get them.
Anyway. Bris Vegas is now the perfect place.
What? I get the
Let's
sippy cup at the shock mouth. Let me have it.
Go on, Sean. We'll give you the space.
Every episode. Every episode.
Yeah. We're the worst.
We
Anyway,
really are.
righto. Bris Vegas. The perfect place for Stuart to start fresh after he got out of prison.
Yeah.
Turns a page.
Was he in prison in Brisbane, Vegas?
No, he was in prison in
Okay.
New South Wales.
Okay.
He was arrested in Sydney.
Hmm.
So he
And
wasn't
say-
at Boggo Road.
No, he not yet.
Oh,
that's so foreboding.
Oh, foreboding.
So I nailed it with foreboding, and you ruined it with foreboding.
I feel like mine rolled off the tongue a bit better.
Okay. Upon his return to Brisbane, he began circulating rumours about potential nightclub bombings, saying that criminals had been coming up from Sydney and were looking to start extorting nightclubs. The old, you got to pay for protection or your place is going to get burnt down. You never know what's going to happen,
But
right?
a nice place here, mate. Be a shame if somebody were to firebomb it.
Yeah, very, very typical gangster movie stuff. Two of the people that he told this to were reporter Brian Bolton and Detective Basil Hicks.
If you could come up with a detective name, that is probably
Basil Hicks?
Yep.
Yeah. It's it sounds like to get really specific, it sounds like some fancy Scotland Yard
Mhm.
detective that moves to a country town in England to uncover all the weird stuff that's been going on.
That
I
is
watched-
specific.
Yeah, you would have watched a lot of BBC shows when you were a kid with your parents. I did as well.
Mr. Weasley from Harry Potter. It's the Vicar of Dibley.
It is
Yes.
the Vicar of Dibley.
Is he like an investigator? Why would a vicar be investigating anything? I don't
Any of
understand the
those
concept
British
of that
shows.
show.
Any of those British shows.
he wasn't the vicar.
Yeah, he was.
Well, I must have seen it later because I remember the vicar of Dibley being a woman.
I also remember.
Maybe it's not the Vicar of Dibley, but he plays a vicar in something and he's like an investigator.
Check everything. Even when I'm hosting, I got to.
Yeah, this is your job.
It slows down the flow of my own episodes.
He's going to have to go through Mr. Weasley. I love how you have a laptop. You're not bothering to investigate.
I tried to one other time. I got in trouble for it.
That's because you hyper-fixated and derailed. Dawn French plays the lead role as the vicar, Geraldine Granger.
I mean, she's still investigating. There's one with the guy that played Mr. Weasley as well. He plays a vicar of something. It was Father Brown. Anyway, back to it.
Anyway,
A go on.
so towards the end of 1972, he told reporter Brian Bolton specifically that he'd heard that an empty nightclub was to be firebombed, followed by a second, and that the whiskey was being targeted for when it was full of people.
Sheesh.
Bolton took this news very seriously, as you'd imagine, and wrote multiple newspaper articles about what he'd heard and about the threats, and even personally notified the police commissioner at the time and the police minister about the information that he'd received. They took it very seriously as well and started watching people. However, being that most of the police were corrupt, a lot of the police were corrupt, they probably didn't care. They probably just went, someone's on to something here. Yeah, well, see what happens. Stewart was most likely spreading these rumours to stir up as much fear as possible with nightclub owners to extort them at a later time so he could actually get some money out of them. If they weren't afraid, then there was no point.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's he's directly giving them the old nudge, it doesn't seem as intimidating versus like real credible rumours of like scary guys from Sydney. That's a lot more real. This fear was later increased when Stewart's rumours were verified by a fire that was lit in Torino's, an empty club, in February of 1973. The first warning had come true. Sadly, there would be no second empty club fire, as in March, the Whiskey A Go-Go would burn from the inside out. In the early hours of March 8th, 2 drums of petrol were set alight in the building's foyer. The fire sent huge amounts of carbon monoxide up the stairs and into the club's main room on the first floor. The only escape route from the main club floor was cut off by the fire, and the route accessed by the rear stairs was poorly signed and cluttered with crates of bottles.
Wasn't it also locked?
No, it wasn't locked. It was
Right.
blocked. It was blocked by like fry oil jar, like tubs.
That's right. Yeah.
Fry oil tubs,
Yeah.
and then they
Super
stacked,
flammable stuff.
and they stacked all the bottles out on the rear stairs because that led down to the alleyway where they could put them in the recycling bin. That night, a band named Trinity were playing at the Whiskey A Go-Go. With about 50 patrons, bar staff, and entertainers in the club when the fuel was ignited, the fire spread and the people inside found escape via the stairs near impossible. Some began jumping from the 4.5 metre high windows onto the awning and then to the ground. Windows in the restrooms were also broken and used to escape. Those that did make it to the stairs found that the club stored unused cooking oil in front of the exit, and these drums were then toppled in the escape, making rushing down the cluttered stairs even more difficult. Even at the bottom of the side alley, they found themselves face to face with a 2 metre high fence.
That's what was, yeah.
It was not a very easy place to get out of in a hurry.
I wouldn't imagine fire exit standards would be too great in the mid-70s either. Not like we have today.
Yeah.
No, that was part of the problem.
That was part of the problem. Yes.
There is something in that I would like to point out, which is the oil getting knocked over and then like people are trying to escape and there's oil everywhere. How awful. Like you get outside and then you're slipping and sliding on oil and then into a fence that is locked.
And there's a fire. So if you go anywhere near the fire, you're on fire.
Yeah.
There's 50 people upstairs as well. It's a lot. The fire caused the deaths of 15 people from carbon monoxide poisoning. They had perished long before the firefighters had even arrived to fight the blaze. So at least they were not burned alive necessarily. Icky, but
Yeah, burned alive is like the worst way
that's
to
the
go.
worst way to go. Although there is
Yeah.
one of the survivors who was a bartender at the time does talk about how she watched one of the other bartenders running around on fire.
Oh, gee.
And she said she didn't know anything about him and still doesn't, because the only thing she knew about him is
There's
that
one thing about him.
she said that the only thing that she knows about him is that she watched him die.
Oh,
It was it's pretty nasty. Told you it was a morbid episode. I warned you.
And so we kind of already covered in the like NEOS episode what carbon monoxide,
Carbon monoxide does.
yeah.
Well, that was carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide.
Monoxide is
Monoxide
kind of
is
different.
kind of different.
Was it dioxide?
Dioxide,
Was it?
CO2 was coming out.
Oh, it
of
was CO2.
Lake Neil.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right.
Because CO2 just makes you stop breathing.
Yes.
Monoxide makes you like
Monoxide
gasp
it's a poison. Yeah,
Well,
it's
CO2 replaces oxygen.
because it's denser. Yeah. Monoxide is
Is a poisoning.
Yeah, it's like carbon monoxide is same thing when people park the car in a garage and that one. The old tailpipe thing. It's going to be a tough edit.
This is a bit caseful, Ali.
Anyway, it gets even more case filing.
I just remembered something about carbon monoxide poisoning.
Oh dear.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Do you remember a camp that we went on and a bunch of kids got slight
I
carbon
did hear
monoxide
about this.
poisoning? Were you not there?
No.
I was there. I was away doing something else when it happened.
Yeah.
So, long story short, Zorb balls, having fun, people getting into Zorb balls.
Yep.
Someone thought it would be a good idea to inflate the Zorb balls with a petrol-powered blower.
They do not have catalytic converters.
No.
So the exhaust is what is used to blow,
Yes.
and then you get inside a ball full of petrol exhaust. Not great.
That was unwise.
Yep.
Straight to the hospital.
Yep. No one, any severe injuries or permanent damage, but yeah. Lessons learned.
Well, they didn't die.
They
It was
die.
still heavy.
Yeah,
Anyway.
monoxide is.
Anyway, on Saturday afternoon,
I got you.
on Saturday, after the fire had occurred, Queensland Police offered a $50,000 reward for any information about the firebombing. That's $4 million in today's. I don't know what the inflation
I mean,
is.
it's probably
It's
like
probably
a million or something.
it's a bit.
yeah.
It's probably a lot of money. They offered a $50,000 reward for any information about the firebombing.
1970s, $50,000. You could probably buy about 20 houses.
Yeah, you could definitely buy 5.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember what my uncle paid for his house in Ipswich in the 70s.
Jeez, that's a lot of money. That is probably the equivalent of $5 million today then.
Yeah, just about. It's a fair bit.
Yeah.
Stewart had been the one that had tipped off the reporter and multiple other sources and security guards and bartenders and other people he'd met at the pub and the detective.
Well, I wonder who the primary suspect was.
He was immediately placed as the number 1 suspect and the hunt began. Didn't take long.
Knowing stuff about the old-timey police, I'm surprised they weren't just like, couldn't possibly be him.
He was trying to warn us.
He would never tell about that many people if he was genuinely doing it.
Being that how many cases got thrown out for like all this other sort of stuff, I'm surprised they bothered going after him. They probably wouldn't have thought they'd get him. The police found themselves with not enough evidence to arrest him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Aside from every confession that he'd done.
As he had an alibi placing him away from the fire at the time that it
of course
occurred. To get around this, the police created some evidence.
Get around it. They shot him.
They created evidence that he'd threatened somebody with a knife and arrested him.
Ah, there's that good old Queensland corruption.
Yeah, there's Queensland. There it is. Yep.
Can't get him legally, get him illegally.
He was then brought in for questioning. Another man named James Richard Finch was also arrested at a similar time in a Jindalee shopping centre. And the more you read about this, the more perplexing this becomes. And it was very hard to distill this down. Finch, a convicted criminal from England, had spent 14 years in a New South Wales jail for malicious wounding with a firearm and carriage of an unlicensed pistol. He had an altercation at a fuel station and he fired 2 bullets and it wounded 2 people.
Dick.
That was the specifics that I got.
Isn't it nice that we don't just have guns everywhere now?
Yeah. Now, he was known to Stewart because he'd also moved to Brisbane at a similar time and was seen as a possible accomplice, as well as the fact that Finch, after he'd fired the 2 shots, he basically stashed the gun with Stewart in Sydney.
Right.
Stewart helped him hide the gun. So they'd been known to each other for a little while. And when they looked at everything, they're like, well, he's known to Stewart, and he moved to Brisbane also quite recently. That's very suspicious. We're going to bring him in as well. As soon as both of the men were arrested, they began loudly protesting their innocence. In the backloading dock of the courts for their first appearance of the hearing. Now, there's a lot of legal jargon that I'm going to massively glance over because it's super boring. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And in the process of writing it down, I definitely wouldn't have written it down correctly. So I'm going to do my best to glance over.
For our other podcast, Cheeky Trials.
Yeah.
Where we go in depth on famous trials.
It's just the legal process. They talk about hearings and indictments. They're all different levels of the legal system. And I'm sorry, I just don't understand that much about it. And it doesn't matter.
Doom, doom.
Yeah.
Law and Tails.
Law
Tails
and
and order.
Tails.
Special cheeky unit.
In the Criminal Justice Department.
Doom, doom.
One unit
These are the
investigates the
stories.
silliest of crimes.
Really? Not Law and Order Cheeky Victims Unit? Really? That was right there. CVU. Okay.
Executive producer Dick Wolf.
Yeah. That's a really gross show. But Ice-T's in it, so it's okay.
Oh, yeah, that makes it all better.
Yeah, it's a good show.
When are we watching War of the Worlds?
Oh,
I know that's not
Ice Cube.
That's not T, that's Cube, but
it's a totally different man with
Yeah.
ice in his name.
We've missed a few episodes for that. We need to get onto it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually seen something pop up on Facebook yesterday, which War of the Worlds is even worse than you think it is.
Yep.
So we've got to get to it.
So in the backloading dock of the courts, when they started this first hearing to sort of prove that why they've been arrested, basically, they caused a bit of a commotion. It wasn't said what they actually did. However, Stewart required 6 detectives to detain him, which is that's quite a few people.
That's a lot of people for one man.
Well, for one man who's already handcuffed
Yeah.
outside of a court. That's quite
power thighs.
Yeah, that's quite impressive. Finch, relatively calmer, only required 1 detective
Oh, what
to
a puss.
detain him. I know. For this first hearing, it was just these guys declaring that they were completely innocent. Finch claimed that he was innocent and that the police had arrested him with a pre-prepared written confession and had beaten him.
What is the charge?
Now, something that comes up, if anyone's ever read about this before, something that pops up all the time is this this thing they talk about that they were verbaled. Basically, it's a slang. It seems to be a slang term used a lot, where basically the police are like, he said chips, completely unrelated to this, means he had fish and chips. They basically took anything out of context and were like, no, that's the official count.
Yeah.
So and among other things, it was quite a vague thing. But when you look at all the interviews with old people, like, oh, they were verbal, and it's like no one explains what verbal means.
It's just like misconstruing.
It's misconstruing thing, or just straight up lying about what they said.
Yeah.
Or anyway. Yeah, it's really
for anyone that's not from Brisbane, particularly Brisbane, but Queensland police in like the 60s to 90s, like early 90s, were known for being incredibly corrupt.
Yeah.
Like incredibly corrupt.
Yep.
And they justified it by being like, well, we have to take these dangerous people off the streets, so we got to do some dodgy stuff. But some of them were also like on the take, and it went as high as the police commissioner, who then became the premier, which is Sir Joe Bjelke-Petersen, which is insane that he's a sir. But he ended up being off to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of stuff is like pretty common at this time.
During the proceedings, it was said that Finch, who after his previous prison sentence had returned to England, and that Stewart had imported Finch to Brisbane to run an extortion scheme, with Finch landing in Australia 12 days prior to the fire. The police had a different story about Finch, however. They claimed that Finch had privately confessed to them about the fire and had implicated Stewart directly, stating that Finch had willfully set the fire while Stewart had begun to establish a false lead about southern criminals coming up and extorting clubs. The trials begin. The Supreme Court trial was now underway after the first, whatever the hell that was called, hearing. Both Finch and Stewart loudly stated at all times that they were innocent. I spelt innocent wrong there. Stating that the police built their prosecution based on false confessions that neither of them had given. In August, as the trial was getting moving after a bit of a delayed start due to a few other issues, Stewart began a pattern that would further delay the courts that he would follow for the rest of his life. He alerted the medical officer in prison that he had swallowed some metal and that he needed medical attention and could not attend the trial.
It's a great strategy.
It's great. He would continue this practice for almost the rest of the trial. Well, for the rest of the trial, barely appearing in court to defend himself. He went through 5 different operations throughout his time in prison to remove foreign objects and metal fragments from his stomach. 3 of them alone were just during the trial.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
He did it a further 2 times while he was still in jail.
It's a good protest, but man, that must be painful.
Finch himself was also not immune to using strategies like this to avoid the trial. He amputated one of his own fingers to avoid going to court because they realized that nobody was listening to them.
Yeah.
The trial concluded on the 23rd of October, 1973, with both Stewart and Finch being convicted for the murder of Jennifer Davey. The jury had declared that the fire was lit at the Whiskey A Go-Go as part of an extortion and terror campaign against Brisbane nightclubs. When the sentence was handed down, Stewart made Australian legal history for being sentenced despite not being in court. He was still recovering from surgery after he swallowed some metal wire. His 3rd operation since the court proceedings began. That's less than 7 months.
It's insane to me that they just kept leaving metal lying around that he could eat.
3 stomach operations in like 6 months.
At least it was easy for the surgeons to just follow the
old scar.
Follow the cut.
Mm-hmm. Now imprisoned in the infamous Brisbane jail, Boggo Road.
Boggo Road.
Why is it infamous?
Why is it infamous? Because it is widely regarded as, by the time it closed, being one of the crappiest prisons going.
Yep.
Terrible treatment of its prisoners. Poor conditions for everybody, including the wardens and the people working there as admin workers even. It was disgusting. It was horrible. They treated everybody like shit, and it was ancient.
And then they turned it into somewhere that government workers go.
Oh, well, there's a lot of prisoner deaths there as well.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of hangings.
Foreboding.
Oh, sorry.
Foreboding, John.
Oh, more bogger roading.
Boggo Roading.
Well, I'll keep my story for then.
Boggo Road would be not necessarily a great podcast episode, but it could be.
We could do an on-site investigation.
If they start doing tours again, as a man that is a skeptic about ghosts, I'm down.
Nope.
4 spooky 5.
I'm kind of skeptic too, but we'll get to it later.
Yes.
I have a first-hand, well, I don't have a first-hand. I have a second-hand account of a haunting in Boggo Road.
Sounds good. Now imprisoned in the Boggo Road jail, they continued to fight that they were in fact innocent. They began legal proceedings to fight for their release and continued to commit self-harm
You
to
gotta
draw
fight.
attention.
You're right.
For innocence.
Oh dear.
Eat metal.
So they kept self-harming and doing stupid stuff
Yeah.
to draw
serious.
attention to their pleas.
Well, our mate's only got 9 fingers left, so he's only got.
He's only got a bit to go.
Yeah.
In one harrowing instance, after the police had taken control of the jail after a strike by the wardens, Stewart sewed his mouth closed with paper clips.
Ugh.
He had warned the wardens and other prisoners that he would do this to prevent being further questioned by the police in fear of being further implicated for the remaining 14 murders, which I'll talk about later, that
Yeah.
hadn't actually been dealt with. Remember, they were only charged with the murder
Mhm.
of Jennifer Davies.
Yeah.
Finch also was protesting the fact that the police were there, but he took a different approach. He hurled shit at them.
Nice.
He poured a bucket of waste on them.
Nice. I'm sure that went down well.
Now, Finch in particular had like quite a little bit of like legal stuff happen over the time that he was in jail because he was technically a British citizen. So he had a few other things that happened. To summarize it, because it's a lot of legal jargon, basically, as a British citizen, he tried to make an appeal to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, kind of an overseas territory thing for British citizens in the Commonwealth nations or other places. He wanted leave from prison to appeal the decision of the High Court with the Privy Council. So the High Court granted a permanent injunction that restrained Finch from proceeding with the petition. However, he did some counter-legal stuff, somehow won against the Queensland government and the High Court again, and the High Court allowed him to continue with his appeal through the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council back in London, but it didn't matter in the end because it took him 30 minutes. They looked at it and went, "This is crap," and threw it out.
Wow.
So he went through all of this.
Yeah.
Appealed against Queensland government, the High Court, everybody twice. He got
Just to get
slammed
thrown out.
just to get thrown out. This Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, basically 30 minutes, they looked at it and they said, "This is not a matter that needs to be heard by the council. It's crap. Open and shut," basically. In January of 1979, Stewart was found dead in his Boggo Road cell after a 6-day hunger strike. His death was ruled to be of acute heart infection, possibly the result of a virus. Some believe that he was murdered.
Gee, wonder why.
But history of self-harm, mental health issues, constantly eating metal, and overall just not really
Yeah.
looking after himself.
Yeah.
Heart illness.
I find it hard to believe at this time that there wasn't some external stuff going on, but then
Yeah.
they seem to have him kind of dead to rights for it.
Yeah.
So,
He was like, the way that this is looked at is they kind of got slammed in straight away.
yeah.
No one was looking out for them at all, really. So although he might have been murdered, I think it's safer to say that he was just literally just on his own and he was trying to fight for his cause and he genuinely just pushed his body too far.
Yeah.
That's what I think. At the time of his death, the police regarded him as Australia's most violent criminal
Wow.
due to his actions both during the legal proceedings and when he was in the jail. Quite,
The 1 time 6 detectives had to hold him still.
that was just the beginning.
Oh, okay.
That's impressive.
Yeah, not
Still.
including like the way he would have acted in the rest of the trial for the next 6
Yeah.
months and the way he acted in prison. In 1986, after Finch married Cheryl Cole, a terminally ill woman that was wheelchair bound, he further worked on his release from prison. He was granted parole in 1988, and the condition of his parole was that he was to be deported back to England. There, in the safety of his home nation, he confessed to the crime of burning down the whiskey. He was pretty dubious in all of this confession, however, as he said that a policeman had ordered him to do the burning, but later recanted his confession. A current affair interviewed Finch, and when he was told that his confession could have him sent back to Australia to face the trial for the remaining 14 murders,
Wait a minute.
he immediately,
Hold up.
he did that. He changed his behavior straight away. This was a public interview with the current affair,
Yeah.
right? He then claimed that he was confused and he couldn't recall murdering anybody.
Yeah, that is something you just forget, you know?
Yep. He later stated that he was brainwashed.
Yes.
By aliens.
Mhm.
It was the aliens.
Basically, he was completely unaware that he hadn't been charged for the other 14 deaths. He just wasn't aware.
What a goober.
Yeah. Now, the biggest thing about this, the whole story, is something that's only happened in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
partly why I'm doing this. After Finch passed away in England about 6 or 7 years ago, a cold case, had finally been solved recently with the murders of the McCulkin family, Barbara and her 2 daughters. The Queensland Attorney General has now reopened the case on the Whiskey A Go-Go fire as the murder is connected to information about the fire.
Right.
Yes.
How's it connected?
That's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, good.
Intermission. I'm kidding. It's not an intermission.
Intermission.
I don't know. It just felt like a really good
We'll
spot.
be back after this.
Yeah, it sounded like a really good spot for an ad.
Yeah.
Vincent O'Dempsey and Gary Dubois were convicted and sentenced in 2017 for the murder of Barbara McCulkin and her 2 daughters. Barbara was married to a small-time crook named Billy McCulkin, a member of the Clockwork Orange gang, along with O'Dempsey, Dubois, and several others.
That's a good name.
A meeting at her house caused her to overhear the gang planning on firebombing the clubs, including the Whiskey, apparently. After the fire, with doubt spreading due to Stewart and Finch declaring their innocence, Barbara began talking around circles in the valley that she could clear their names, started stating that I know what is really going on here, and these guys are probably innocent, and I reckon I can blow the whistle and clear their names. People started paying attention to this.
Yeah, a bit of a silly move.
Bit of a silly move. Well, theoretically, it ended up, hindsight, being a bit of a silly move. However, there was a plan in place. So Barbara planned an escape with a security guard that was well known around the Valley night scene, that was very interconnected with everything.
An escape?
Yeah, like as in they would get away from Brisbane,
and
film
then,
Barbara's confession,
Right.
throw everybody under the bus and get away clean.
Yeah.
And that way keep the family safe, keep everybody safe. Her 2 daughters were 11 and 13.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to glance over the
Ugh.
gross stuff
Yeah.
because it's not nice.
Your episodes have people eating other people.
Because they had to.
And you got sad when someone didn't get eaten or died in an episode.
Yeah,
So you-
I'm not the one complaining about what's about to happen.
no, you just complain when someone
Yeah,
didn't
you just
die.
complain when they don't get eaten.
It's boring.
Anyway, Barbara unfortunately delayed the getaway plan. Her daughters desperately wanted to attend a friend's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
On the night of January 16th, 1974, the girls were at a birthday party across the street. Barbara was at home and her husband Billy was out with another woman because he was a piece of crap. He's dead. He was also a piece of crap. Sorry, listeners, if it wasn't immediately obvious by the fact that he was in a criminal gang and had meetings in their house about how to burn down nightclubs, he was a
Yeah.
piece of crap. Witnesses say that they saw a car pull up outside the house and 2 men stepped out, O'Dempsey and Dubois. They remained in the house with Barbara until the girls came home from the party. The men took all 3 of them out of the house, locking it up on their way, went to the bush and murdered all 3 of them and buried them. Billy came home later to find them missing and immediately went to find them. After much searching and hearing that O'Dempsey and Dubois had been by the house, he then engaged with the police to have them arrested. With eyewitness accounts putting an orange Valiant Charger at the scene, this should have been an open and shut case. Sadly, because it's the freaking 70s again, the case somehow fell apart due to insignificant evidence, and the men walked free. However, it was quite high profile at the time. There's actually this really kind of harrowing video of Dubois like getting carried into the court, like lunging and trying to kick the camera and everything like he's a friggin' madman. It's actually really quite, and he looks disheveled.
Do they know where the bodies were buried?
They still haven't.
They still
Oh,
don't
they
know where
never
the bodies
found
are.
them.
No, they'll never find it.
jeez.
They probably won't ever find them, and I'll get into that.
Well, I mean, they were just in the bush somewhere. Like,
Yeah, so the news covered this really well. So everybody was very aware of what was going on.
yeah.
In 2014, after the death of Billy McCulkin in 2011, another gang member finally came forward and implicated O'Dempsey and Dubois for the murder of the McCulkins, and the trial began again. In 2016, O'Dempsey, now aged 78 and apparently an absolute psycho of a person, according to every police investigator and anyone that knew him.
Yeah.
They had some horrible nicknames for him, like the Minister of Death and all this other sort of stuff. Was a very horrible person. And there was some specifics in this confession about everything that actually happened to do with the murders in the bush and O'Dempsey and Dubois. Basically, O'Dempsey was a much bigger piece of crap than Dubois, still pieces of crap. Anyway, O'Dempsey was now charged with the murders and Dubois was found guilty the very next year in 2017. Both were sentenced to life in prison, unsurprisingly. With these murders finally solved and the connection made to Barbara knowing the real arsonists, Queensland reopened the case of the Whiskey A Go-Go officially, instantly. 2017, the Queensland Attorney General was like, This person was killed because she knew who really did it. These men killed her. I don't know if they did the fire, but they killed her because she apparently knew what was going on in the fire. I'm reopening this case.
Who was the guy that was still alive of the original two?
Finch had passed away a couple of years earlier.
Oh, okay. So they're both dead now.
They're
At
now
this point.
They're now both dead.
Yeah. Okay.
Unfortunately, in 2021, before the inquest was to begin, Gary Dubois was found dead in his cell a few weeks before he was supposed to give evidence to the court's inquest in the Whiskey A Go-Go fires.
Where was he being held? Did it say?
Maryborough Prison.
Okay.
I haven't got that written down. I just remember seeing the video. So Gary Dubois was the less of a piece of crap, still a piece of crap. He was apparently a small fish and just was. So he was in his late 70s. He was found dead in his cell. Everyone reckons he's murdered. And he was just dead. But the worst thing is that now the only person left that can probably corroborate where the bodies are and any more information to do with the fires is Patrick O'Dempsey, who's, by all accounts, a gigantic shit human.
Yeah.
And will he ever actually confess to anything?
Doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't sound like he's ever going to think. And I know all the families are desperately wishing that they can find where Barbara and her lovely children are buried so they can put them at rest, hopefully.
I think even you're probably still not going to find them.
Yeah.
Like,
the theory is that O'Dempsey and Dubois would have at least known where they were. So, bit of a morbid story, but interesting that now the rest of these murders, hopefully, one day, who knows, might
Would be
finally
solved.
get solved, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe when we do a follow-up episode next year or the year after, that we've got some answers that, like, an actual, real, high-profile case, the second biggest mass murder in Australian history, can finally be put to bed.
Yeah, that what you just said is the amazing bit, is that it's still the second largest.
Yeah. 1996, Port Arthur's the only one bigger, and we're never talking about that because it's awful. Ick. It's
And it
Aaron's
literally,
episode.
all there is at the... Are you going to go into the...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So the Whiskey A Go-Go now has a plaque outside it on the pavement. It's just in the road. It's not very big. It's quite unassuming.
Probably about the
and
size
it's-
of a butter plate.
Yeah, I'd say about the size of it, like a little butter bread plate. And it's just saying, like, it's a memorial to the people that lost their lives in the Whiskey A Go-Go fire. It's on the Amelia Street side.
Yeah.
I
actually almost didn't see it when I went looking.
Yeah. I had to go to a radiologist appointment at that radiologist. And Rachel's like, oh, you got to go here for this one. I'm like, oh, cool. Where is it? She goes, on the Valley. I'm like, oh, cool. And then I pull up and I'm like, oh my God, it's the Whiskey A Go-Go. And she goes, where? I'm like, this is the Whiskey A Go-Go. This is like a really important thing in Brisbane history. She goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, my wife's from the NT. She would have never really heard of it. And then, so I got to go upstairs and I sat in the waiting couches up against the windows of the original Whiskey A Go-Go fire where people would have jumped out the windows onto the balcony, which is right there. It's like an awning. It's not really a balcony. It's just like an awning below the awning. I was like sitting right there. I was like, this is eerie as heck. Absolutely eerie as heck. Would have been just like looking at the schematics. I would have been just to the right of the stage, left of the stage if you're looking at the stage. It was crazy.
Standing outside, it was pretty like, and like you can see the alleyway where like the toilets were, and where people would have jumped down. It is a long way up. Like 5 meters is a long way.
It's a pretty jump.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're jumping down onto the Amelia Street side, it slopes downhill.
Yeah.
So if you were like jumping down onto St. Paul's Terrace, then it's a little better. But yeah, if you were jumping like down towards where the door was on Amelia Street, you're jumping, that's maybe another half a meter again. And they're like, it's a big jump. It's big enough when you're prepared and you've got nice shoes on, not in the 70s when you're on fire. Like, there's no thought to that. You're just launching.
I think the weirdest thing about it is it's just this completely unassuming building.
Completely unassuming.
You'd have no idea anything happened there if it was not for the little tiny plaque on the ground.
And even when you look back at the old photos of it, it was a pretty unassuming building. It looks like a corporate office with one sign on the side that says Whiskey A Go-Go.
That's what I meant. Like, it doesn't look like it's a club.
Yeah.
It looks like an office.
Yeah.
Still does.
The
Did
bottom
back
of
then.
it was a gym for a while.
Yep. Crazy. So yeah, that's the story of the Whiskey A Go-Go fire. Well, it's part of the story, I suppose, because it's not really
Not
solved.
finished.
Not done yet.
Yeah. Stewart and Finch, probably innocent. Not necessarily good people. Probably innocent, however.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my Bugger Road story.
Go.
I used to be a public servant with the Department of Public Works. And I worked with an older gentleman who'd been with the Department of Public Works for a long time. And one of his jobs before I started with him is that
Ghost hunter.
once the Bogger Road was closed, and they had to go through it to pull out old locks and stuff like that for parts for other prisons that use the same kind of stuff. And so it was actually, I worked with both the men that were in there, both carpenters, and the place was shut. There was no one else in there. So they had all the cells open and they were going through taking like a quick stock of what locks were there or whatever like that. This gentleman, much like yourself, complete skeptic, doesn't believe in any of that crap, right? He looked at me fair in the face, dead serious, and said he was walking down, because I believe Bogger Road was like two-story with like an open area in the middle.
Yep, old school prison.
Yeah, he was walking the top row of cells, got about halfway down, looked into the jail cell, and he said there was a bloke sitting there. And the bloke sitting there went, "There you go, mate." And he just said he got the other bloke and went, they got out of there and they didn't go back. He's like, not going back in there. He would not go in there.
Yeah.
So,
I don't really believe in ghosts.
well, neither did he, but he
Yeah.
was serious. There was someone sitting there in the cell, said, "How you going?"
I believe he saw that.
I believe he saw that. I'm a skeptic, but I also get hectic spooked by lots of things.
Yes.
I am a very, very large scaredy cat. I'm scared of heights, scared of water, scared of the dark, scared of everything. So might be a skeptic, but I'm also a big chicken.
Yeah, I believe the spooks would be pretty high in that place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fright night at the Gold Coast is going to be tough this year. And I'm going. Oh.
Well, good story, Sean.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I know it was morbid. I'm sorry, kind of hindsight sorry to our listeners for picking such a morbid, but a very, very interesting piece of Brisbane history that is incomplete. Australian history, really. It's a mass murder. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
They're very rare in Australia.
Very, very rare. Very, very rare.
Thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully the biggest murder recently was mushrooms.
Oh, man.
True.
We're not touching that yet.
Yeah, there's already a Stan show
Yeah.
about it. I just got the ad for it the
How
other
is
day.
that?
It's a
How
mini
has that
series.
happened? That's crazy.
It's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They obviously were filming it like while
Oh
the trial was
yeah, while the
happening.
trial was happening.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Crazy.
Just do a couple of edits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for listening.
Yeah.
If you've got any experience with people that might have been involved in the Whiskey A Go-Go fire, you never know. There's
Oh
a
my
lot
God,
of
what if we blow this wide open?
there's 30 odd survivors, man. Like
I don't want to be attacked.
no, but like no, if you've met one of the survivors and
Yeah.
who knows? Like you never know. Hit us up in the socials. You never know. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. If you have a connection to it, I'd love
Yeah.
to know.
If not, if you think this is just a really fascinating story and you want me to do a bit more crime-based stuff, then
Cheeky files.
Cheeky Files, let us know in the comments. Again,
Dum-dum.
we do appreciate all the comments that we get, and we get some really good episode suggestions from people that we talk to. Get all sorts of, like, even if I run soft ideas past people and they go, that's a good one, and then they give
Yeah.
some more. Like, it really helps us out. Don't just spam us with shit, but yeah, sometimes if there's some connections to be made, it's good to have. So yeah,
Anyway,
thanks for listening, everyone.
thank you very much. We will see you in 1 fortnight's time.
Good night, Chiquitos.
Take it easy.
Good night.
You've been listening to Cheeky Tales Podcast. If you'd like to see supplemental images related to our episodes or to interact with us about our episodes, hit us up on @CheekyTalesPod on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You can watch our episodes on YouTube or listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.